Children's games are meant to be innocent, a way to laugh, to play, to connect. But what happens when the game doesn't end, and the goose never comes back? I am the tale's keeper. And here's another story to listen to. Do not forget to turn off the lights. Put on your headphones. Time to listen to another spooky tale. It started on a cool October afternoon, when the leaves were turning and the wind carried a hint of winter's chill. The kids in the small town of Briar Hollow had gathered after school, running and laughing through the park, jackets unzipped and cheeks rosy. 12-year-old Lily was the one who suggested the game. "Let's play duck, duck, goose," she shouted, her brown hair whipping in the wind. The other kids, around her age, quickly agreed. It was simple, it was fun, and most importantly, it kept them warm as the sun dipped behind the clouds. They sat in a circle near the edge of the woods, where the grass was still soft and dry. No one noticed the strange pattern in the leaves behind them, or the way the wind suddenly stilled. Lily began. She circled the group, tapping heads. "Duck, duck, duck." She stopped behind her best friend Tommy. "Goose!" Tommy jumped up and chased her around the circle, laughter echoing. It was perfect, harmless, until the third round. That's when something went wrong. Why then, it was getting darker, the sky a shade grayer, the trees casting longer shadows. One of the boys, Jake, had been picked as the goose. He ran fast, but then something odd happened. He tripped, right at the tree line. The kids ran over, ready to help him up. But Jake wasn't there. They searched, called his name, even joked nervously that he'd run off to avoid being it. But as minutes passed and he didn't return, the laughter faded. His jacket was still on the ground, torn at the shoulder, like it had been ripped. They told their parents, who called the police. The search lasted all night. Nothing was found. Just Jake's hat, near the old willow tree. The game was over, at least for a while. A week later, Lily was back at the park. She hadn't slept well. She kept dreaming of footsteps behind her, and someone tapping her shoulder from behind. But the other kids were there. And like most kids, they wanted to forget what happened, to pretend everything was fine. So when Maria said, "Let's play duck, duck, goose again," Lily hesitated, then nodded. The circle was smaller now, just 7 kids. The wind howled louder this time, and the sun had dipped even lower. The game began again. Duck, duck, goose. This time, it was Lily who was picked. She ran, her heart racing faster than it should have. When she reached her spot, she sat down, but her eyes drifted to the trees again. Something was moving, a tall, dark shape, watching and smiling. That night, another kid vanished. Maria, gone, without a trace. This time, the parents were furious. Police patrols were added to the park. The circle was closed off. No one was allowed to play there anymore. But the kids couldn't stay away. It was like the game was calling them. 3 days later, 4 kids met in secret. The youngest, Tyler, said he saw Maria in his dream. She was running, crying, begging them to stop playing. He also said she whispered something. "The goose gets taken." They thought it was just a dream, that he was scared. But Lily knew better. She remembered the shadow, the watching thing in the woods. Still, they played. Just once more, they sat in the circle. The leaves around them shaped like a spiral they hadn't noticed before, like something had carved it out. It didn't look natural. Tyler tapped heads. "Duck, duck." He paused behind Lily. Her heart sank. He said it. "Goose." She stood up to run, but something grabbed her foot, something cold, slimy. She looked down and screamed. A hand. No, not a hand. Something long and black like a vine with fingers wrapped around her ankle. The others didn't move. They sat frozen, their faces blank, like dolls. She kicked and kicked until she was free. She ran home, crying, her leg bruised and marked. That night, Tyler vanished. The town began to panic. Curfews were enforced. School canceled for the week. People whispered about an old legend, something about the trees in the park, about a game that used to be played 100 years ago, about disappearances that never made it into the papers. Lily found an old article in the library. Local folklore, the hollow goose. It talked about a children's spirit game used to summon something from beyond. The rules were simple. Sit in a circle. Pick the goose. The goose is the offering. Once chosen, they must run. If caught, they are taken. If escaped, the entity is angered. It will return until it is fed. Lily couldn't believe it, until she looked at the picture in the article. A faded black and white photo of children playing in a circle. One of them looked like Maria. Lily didn't want to play again, but the dreams came back. Every night, she saw the circle, the entity, its hollow face and stitched grin, the way it floated just beyond the trees, how it tapped each child, whispering to them. She began marking days on her wall. Every 3 days, a child vanished. Every 3 days, it needed a goose. Lily made a choice. She returned to the park one final time, alone. The spiral was still there. The wind was cold, and the trees. They leaned closer now as if eager to see what would happen. She sat down, alone in the circle. Then she heard it. Soft footsteps. Tap. Duck. A breath behind her neck. Duck. And then, goose. She didn't run. She turned and saw it. A tall, eyeless creature. Its stitched mouth curved into a sick smile. It leaned forward and whispered into her ear, "You've broken the game. Now you are the goose forever." They never found Lily, but sometimes at dusk, children hear tapping near the edge of the woods. They hear whispers, "Duck, duck, goose." And if you sit in a circle too close to the trees, you might feel a tap on your head, and it might be your turn next. That was tonight's tale from Nightmare for Giggles. I am the Tale's Keeper, and I thank you for listening. If you're still here, congratulations. Not everyone makes it through the game. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you've ever played a game that didn't feel quite right. Until next time, keep your lights off, your headphones on, and beware the goose.